Hey guys, this is Real Talk Podcast. Not so much ASMR anymore, to be honest. Anyways, so today's topic is going to be like death and how the realization that death is going to occur and the acceptance of it and the living our life and contemplation of death can actually help us live, a life that's fulfilling and is long and is filled with connection and removal of attachment, and just we could live happier lives. So people don't usually start questioning death or contemplating death or trying to understand death until it's too late. I mean, it's never too late, but until they're faced with it. So if they're old, like in old age, if they have health issues, if they're recently going through like some familial deaths, or they're going to funerals or whatever. When you're young, we're living as if we live forever. We're living as though nothing can harm us, as though we're just kind of living on autopilot and not really contemplating death, not really understanding life itself, and kind of just going with what our culture or as human beings have laid out to us and told us through movies, television, our friends, family, because they don't know themselves. But once you start questioning, instead of fear, it can lead to freedom and expression of your love for the life, or your love for God or universe, or whatever you want to call it. So when people start questioning, they don't have a foundation to go off of, which is why they lead to midlife crises, or it leads to existential fear when they really start to understand that their time here is limited and they realize that they've been wasting their time. The problem with the fear, though, is that you're wasting more time fearing what is inevitable rather than using the contemplation of death for your advantage, and really understanding that contemplation of death can actually let you live a fulfilling life while you're alive. You still have time. If you're alive right now and you aren't dead yet, you still have time regardless of age. So how can death, the contemplation of death, lead us to a more fulfilling life? Well, on the surface, we're wasting less time doing pointless things. We get to the point, we live a life for expression and love, rather than survival or avoiding life experience, and we take life less serious. Contemplate death right now. Okay, close your eyes if you have to, but all experience one day, sensing, feeling, perceiving, thinking, hearing, everything is just gonna end. No matter, of course, people have different beliefs, but in my personal opinion, I feel like these religious beliefs, to a point, they are correct, like in my opinion, but the way they are interpreted is faulty a little. I feel like people use the idea of heaven and hell as a way to cope with the fact that one day they are gonna die. After you die, how could there possibly be experience? How can you be suffering eternally without thoughts, without perception? Our minds cannot conceptualize the eternal suffering. So what I believe is that what the Christian faith and what the Muslim faith, or whatever faith that believes in an afterlife, of being heaven or hell, it actually is what we make of it on earth. I feel like we've gotten it all wrong. And heaven and hell is what our consciousness expresses itself to be. If it doesn't know itself, if it doesn't know God, if it doesn't, just like in the Christian faith, if you don't know God, if you don't follow God, you will eternal, when you die, you go to hell. I believe that when you are living and you don't follow love or source or God or universe, whatever, doesn't matter the religion, and you don't lead your life with love and acceptance and freedom, then in turn it leads us to suffer. Because you see it in our culture every day. You suffer. It's attachment. It's sin. It's attachment to sin. The reason why we sin is because we want to fulfill something that we perceive isn't fulfilled already. We want to, when we sin, when we steal, when we lie, when we sin in other ways like lust or greed, anything that you can think of that has a negative connotation, we're doing it to fulfill that hole that we have in ourselves in the external world. And by doing so, we forget ourselves as God, as reflections of God, as child of God, as beings of God, as the way God knows itself, the way the universe expresses itself. We forget that it's inherent in us to be fulfilled. We are already fulfilled. If you really truly know yourself and when you refer to yourself, you don't think of your thoughts or your mind, your perceptions, your senses, and what is the only thing left? You still remain. So that is what I'm talking about. That self that remains is ultimately fulfilled. It doesn't have thoughts, so how can it lack? It doesn't have feelings, so how can it be suffering? These are all concepts of the mind that our society has ingrained in us and has made us believe that we aren't fulfilled already. And it's not no fault of our own. I mean, it's easy to get caught in objects of life and easy to get caught into the world and in relationships, but it's all a play. That's what they mean by illusion. Your life is an illusion. It's not that reality isn't real. Everything is real. I mean, if it wasn't real, you wouldn't be experiencing it. It's just that the way we perceive it is an illusion. The way we view ourselves is an illusion. We view ourselves separate from everything, when in reality, the only way we can connect with reality is through ourselves, is through perception, is through our minds, is through our soul. So how can something that exists in our minds or in our consciousness, not in our minds, in our consciousness, be separate from us? When you get to a point of awareness, pure awareness, no thought is there, you cannot feel or sense anything that's outside of yourself, which is why in turn, when you reach a certain level of consciousness or awareness or revelation or enlightenment, or what's another religion that is like when you have a connection with Allah, or I'm trying to think, you know what I mean, like once you reach a certain level of oneness, you feel as though you and everyone else is a reflection of God. So the way you express yourself in the world, the way you interact with the world, the way you treat people, the way you treat the earth, the way you treat yourself and your experiences is always going to be of highest good, highest vibration, or highest intention. And when you put love into the world, I'm not saying that people will automatically accept it, because some people won't, because they're too in the illusion, but you are automatically going to be felt back with some sort of love, because it doesn't come from an external place. It doesn't come from a superficial place. It comes from a true understanding of what we all are, of what purpose we all serve. I think people are so intertwined with experience, and they're going from their day-to-day lives, and they don't stop and they don't question it. And that's what leads us to confusion, and that's what leads us to forgetting our true natures, because we don't stop and we don't just explore our experience. That makes sense. We don't explore ourselves. We don't explore consciousness. We don't explore how we're experiencing. We are exploring what we're experiencing, but we're not we are not exploring what we are to experience. That makes sense. So contemplating death, I've used this a lot. So I have different methods of coming back to my true nature, and because it's normal to forget once you are aware of it, once you got a glimpse of God, once you got a glimpse of that peace, that love, it's easy to get back mixed in with experience, which is completely normal. I mean, we're humans. Our minds are conditioned to think and feel and believe in the separate self, believe in what we are trained to believe. So it's completely normal. So some methods work for me, if you watch Rupert Spira or any non-duality spirituality, if you contemplate the I am, what I essentially am, or you contemplate basically the tantric, or I'm not going to go into that, but let's just say I use different methods to kind of go back into my peace, go back into my true nature, and fall back into God. And I recently stumbled upon this Pursuit of Wonder YouTube channel video, and it's a philosophy channel, and it kind of explores different philosophies, and it was basically one contemplating death. And this was a time when I was kind of in my forgetful phase of because we go through stages, and I was in one that was struggling to connect with God and connect, and I just felt anxious and I was suffering, and I came across this video, and it made me contemplate death. It made me think about death, and it made me realize that everything here is temporary. So everything, everyone, every experience, when you think about you being born into this world, you came out of source, or before we get into concepts, we came out of nothing. Or what can you imagine before you were born? Do you remember before you're born? No, because it was eternal. It was an eternal nothingness, and that essentially is what I believe is God. So, or universe, or source, or consciousness, whatever, awareness, whatever. So when I contemplated it, it was I kind of got the intuition that maybe what happens before we are born per se into this world, or born into experience and to have experience, is exactly what happens when we fall back and we come back into consciousness, into into God. We come out of God. I mean, we're all within God in general, and within the universe in general, but we seemingly come out of it into experience as the expression of God itself, as the expression of love, as the expression of consciousness, and we fall back into consciousness when our story or our experience comes to an end. And this like revelation, I feel, can add a lot of depth like deepness, depth into depth and peace and serenity and joy and love and appreciation and gratefulness and happiness and to life itself. I mean, and it could bring about your purpose that you were born into this experience for. I mean, we are born to be devoted to love, be devoted to God, be devoted to the universe, or be devoted to this oneness. And we seem to forget. But once you contemplate death and you contemplate that all experience comes to an end, it kind of, once you get past the shock, once you get past the fear, once you get past the damn, this is worthless, it can actually, why does it have to be worthless? Why can't you make it an expression? Why can't you make it an expression of God, of what we come from? Why does it have to be negative? It doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be worthless. You can make your own purpose. You can choose. You could wake up every day and see it as a blessing, see it as an opportunity to share God's love, or share the universe's love, or share Source's love and oneness with each other, and choose to find meaning and choose to find purpose and choose to find depth into in life. If this is the only experience you're ever gonna have knowingly, then why are you gonna waste it worrying about things? Why are you gonna waste it being angry? Or why are you gonna waste it choosing to be angry, or choosing to be anxious, or choosing what people think about you, when at the end of the day, the only thing that you know is in you, an outward expression of you, and that's the only thing you're ever going to know. One day it's all going to be gone, and you're not going to have memories, you're not going to have thoughts, you're not going to be like, oh, I did this 10 years, oh, he did this to me, and I'm mad at him. You're never, it's going to stop one day, completely, eternally. So now you have to take this opportunity for life to be an expression of happiness and joy, rather than something you fear, or always lacking something, or always searching, when the very thing you're searching for is experience itself, and you're here. Or the very thing you're searching for is God itself, and it's always here. When you die, before you're born, and when you live, it's always the background of experience. And that is something to be grateful for. That's something to always hold in your heart, and always come back to, and to always reside in, and to find peace in. I found a lot of peace in that, to be honest, and I try to live my life with that ideology, and I try to, every experience, I try to my best to meet it with love, and meet it with acceptance and compassion, and it's made me into a greater person, more empathetic, more caring, more self-actualizing, more self-loving, more neutrality, more intellect, wisdom, more wanting to experience, less wanting to waste my time, more wanting to share my love, share this love with everyone, because everyone deserves it, and everyone, I feel like one day we'll all get there. But like, just the oneness, you know what I mean? Okay, so I have 30 seconds left on the clock. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. I hope, you know, because I enjoyed it. That's why I do it. So I wish you the best. Good luck in your life. I love you. I hope you experience life to the fullest. And I hope you meet every day with joy and compassion and love and peace and serenity. And I hope you surrender to everything. And I hope you just breathe, bro. Life is about breathing. Mwah. Bye.